Hello, my dear students. Today we're going to speak about punctuation rules. Let's begin with the comma. There are several uses for a comma. A comma is used to join two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. You can see here a list of coordinating conjunctions. They are and, but, or, for, nor, and so. So you can join two clauses using these coordinating conjunctions, and you need to use a comma as well. Okay? You have an example here. Road construction can be inconvenient, but it is necessary. Road construction can be inconvenient is the first independent clause. It is necessary is the second independent clause. So you can join the two of them by using the coordinating conjunction but. But before that, you need to write a comma. Now let's go to the other use. A comma is used after an introductory phrase, a prepositional phrase, or a dependent clause. You have an example here. To get a good grade, you must complete all your assignments. So here, to get a good grade is a prepositional phrase because it is a phrase introduced by the preposition to. When you have that situation where you have an introductory phrase, a prepositional phrase, or a dependent clause, after it you must write a comma. A third use for a comma is that it is used to separate elements in a series. You have an example here. On her vacation, Lisa visited Greece, Spain, and Italy. So those three elements, Greece, Spain, and Italy, should be separated by commas. Okay? The comma is also used to separate information not crucial to the message or intent of the sentence. The example is, John's truck, a red Chevrolet, needs new tires. So what you can see here between commas, a red Chevrolet, that is non-essential information. That is information that can be taken out of the sentence and the sentence make perfect sense. So when you have that situation where you have information not crucial to the message or non-essential information, you need to write that information between commas. Okay? A comma is also used between coordinate adjectives. Coordinate adjectives are adjectives that are equal and reversible. The example is, the sturdy, compact suitcase made a perfect gift. So you have here two adjectives, coordinate adjectives, sturdy and compact. They have a similar meaning. That's why they are separated by a comma. You say the sturdy, comma, compact. Yes? And those adjectives are also reversible. That is to say that you can say first the compact, comma, sturdy, and it makes perfect sense. A comma is also used after a transitional element. You have here a list of transitional elements, and you have an example. For example, the Red Sox, Yankees, and Indians are popular baseball teams. So this is a transitional element. For example, when you have any of these transitional elements, you need to write a comma after it, and you can go on the sentence. Okay? A comma is also used with quoted words. You have an example here. Yes, she promised. Joel replied, saying, I will be back this afternoon. So when you have quoted words, that is to say yes I will be back this afternoon, you have to separate that information by using commas. A comma is also used in dates, and the example here is Monday, October the 25th, 1999. So when you're speaking about dates, you need to write commas always. Commas are also used in numbers. You have an example here, 15 million. So when you have a number, you need to write commas, not periods. Remember, commas. Commas are also used in personal titles. The example is Mike Rose, Chief Financial Officer for Operations, reported the quarter's earnings. So you can see here between the commas the personal title of Mike Rose, that is Chief Financial Officer for Operations. That is his title or her title, and that information should be between commas. Commas are also used to separate the city name from the state. For example, Dallas, Texas. Dallas is the name of the city, and you write a comma, and then the name of the state, Texas. Now let's go to the semicolon. A semicolon is used to join two independent clauses when the second clause relates to the first, or when the two clauses are of equal emphasis. You have an example here. Road construction in Dallas has hindered travel around town. The streets have become covered with bulldozers, trucks, and cones. As you can see here, there are two clauses, two independent clauses, separated by the semicolon. So the second clause in this case restates the first, or it has an equal emphasis as the first one. You are giving, by using this second clause, you are giving additional information, yes? And you have to write that second clause before a semicolon. A semicolon is also used to join two independent clauses when the second clause begins with a conjunctive adverb or a transition. You have here a list of conjunctive adverbs and transitions. So when you have two clauses, the second clause begins with one of these words and phrases, you need to write a semicolon. Yes? And you have an example here. Terrorism in the United States has become a recent concern. In fact, the concern for America's safety has led to an awareness of global terrorism. As you can see here, in fact, is a transition. So when you have a transition, you need to write before the transition the semicolon, and after the transition the comma. Okay? The semicolon is also used to join elements in a series when individual items of the series already include commas. And the example is, recent sites of the Olympic Games include Athens, Greece, Salt Lake City, Utah, Sydney, Australia. As you can see, the city of Athens here is in Greece, so you write the name of the city and the country. And to separate that information from the next information, you need to write a semicolon. So semicolon, Salt Lake City, Utah, semicolon, Sydney, Australia. You are joining the elements of a series when these individual items already include commas. And then let's speak about the colon. The colon is used to join two independent clauses when you want to emphasize the second clause. The example is, road construction in Dallas has hindered travel around town. Parts of Main, Fifth, and West Street are closed during the construction. So as you can see, the second clause, you are using the second clause to emphasize the first one. In that situation, you need to write a colon, yes? A colon is also used after an independent clause when it is followed by a list, a quotation, or another idea directly related to the independent clause. You have an example here. Judy went to the store for some groceries, milk, bread, coffee, and cheese. So you have here a list, milk, bread, coffee, and cheese. Before writing that list, you need to write the colon, yes? And the other example is, Abraham Lincoln urges the Americans to rededicate themselves to the unfinished work of the deceased soldiers, colon. It is for us the living rather to be dedicated here to, etc. So as you can see, this is the beginning of a quotation. So when you have the quotation, it is for us the living rather. This is an example. Before that quotation, you need to write a colon. And a colon is also used to separate the hour and minutes in a time notation. For example, 12 p.m. You write 12 colon double O or 0, 12 o'clock p.m. The colon is also used to separate the chapter and verse in a biblical reference. For example, Matthew chapter 1, verse 6. You have to write a colon there. And let's talk about the parenthesis. The parenthesis is used to emphasize content and to set off non-essential material such as dates, clarifying information or sources from a sentence. The example is, Muhammad Ali, 1942 to the present, claimed he would flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. So as you can see, the information that is included between parentheses is non-essential information, and it is a date, yes? And let's talk about the dash. The dash is used to emphasize the content enclosed within dashes, or the content that follows a dash. Dashes place more emphasis on this content than parentheses. The example is, perhaps one reason why the term has been so problematic, so resistant to definition and yet so transitory in those definitions, because of its multitude of applications. As you can see, the content between the dashes is very important, is very emphatic. So the dash is used to emphasize that content enclosed within dashes. And the dash is also used to set off an appositive phrase that already include commas. An appositive is a word that adds extra explanatory or clarifying information to the noun that precedes it. The example is, the cousins Tina, Todd, and Sam arrive at the party together. So as you can see, Tina, Todd, and Tam is an appositive. It's a phrase that already includes commas. So when you have that situation, you have to use dashes, yes? So you say the cousins dash, Dina, Todd, and Sam dash arrive at the party together, okay? And finally, the quotation marks. Quotation marks are used to enclose direct quotations. For example, he asked, when will you be arriving? So when you have a direct quotation, always use quotation marks. Quotation marks also are used to indicate a novel, reserved, or ironic use of a word. For example, history is stained with blood spilled in the name of justice. So justice here between quotation marks. It is used in this way because it is an ironic use of that word. And quotation marks are also used around the title of short poems, song titles, short stories, magazines, or newspaper articles, essays, speeches, chapter titles, short films, and episodes of television or radio shows. You have an example here, Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson. That is a piece of writing by him. So you need to write that the name of that piece of writing, of that story, between quotation marks. And you have a song here, Just Like a Woman by Bob Dylan. So Just Like a Woman is the title of that song sung by Bob Dylan. So you need to write that song title between quotation marks. Okay, that's it. I hope you have enjoyed it and understood it.